Hindi ako sanay magsulat ng mahaba pero gusto ko ilabas ito. I'm not asking for help or donations. I'm posting because ang dami kong nababasang after the typhoon updates na parang mabilis lang ang recovery. Tapos, okay na ulit. Hindi ganun ang nangyari sa amin. Hindi ko sasabihin ang exact na lugar. Coastal area kami, sanay kami sa bagyo. Kapag sinabi ng pag-asa may bagyo, we do the usual. Minsan sinasabi pa namin, kaya yan, ilang bagyo na ang dumaan. That mindset helped us stay calm before. The week before, normal pa ang lahat. Nagpapasok kami sa trabaho at school, naglalakad sa palengke, nagbabayad ng bills kung meron. Simple life. My mother was doing laundry. My father was fixing a small leak sa bubong. May maliit kaming sari-sari sa harap, pangdagdag lang sa kita. I remember telling myself, pag lumakas ang hangin, isasara namin, then we wait. May mga announcements sa radio at sa barangay. May warnings, may signal numbers, may reminders na maghanda. May narinig akong line na paulit-ulit, storm, surge, at possible flooding. Alam ko naman ang meaning, pero iba pala kapag ikaw na ang nasa loob ng bahay na maririnig mo ang dagundong ng hangin. When the warnings became more serious, doon kami nagmadali. Nagyampake kami ng konti. Ilang damit sa plastic, mga importanteng gamit like phone, chargers, maliit na cash kung meron, at medicines ng nanay ko. Wala kaming generator. Wala kaming sasakyan. We had one old backpack and a couple of eco bags. Hindi mo rin alam ano ang dapat unahin kasi ang dami mong iniingatan pero limited ang kaya mong buhatin. Bandang hapon, malakas na ang ulan. The wind started sounding like it had its own voice. Hindi siya basta hangin lang. It was like a long, continuous push, tapos may biglang bugso na parang may humahampas sa labas. We stayed inside, doors locked, windows closed. Sa una, manageable pa. By early evening, naramdaman namin na nanginginig ang bahay. Yung bubong, may tunog na parang may tinatanggal na pako. My father kept checking the door and the corners of the house. Tahimik siya, pero kitang-kita ko na alert siya. My mother was praying softly, not loud, just steady. I was trying to keep my younger sibling calm, telling them it's just a bad night. Then, the water came. Una, sa labas lang. Narinig namin yung rumbling na hindi ko ma-explain. Parang may malaking dumadaan na tubig. Tapos biglang may sumingaw, na amoy putik at alat at nag-iba ang hangin. The flood didn't rise slowly like a normal rainy day. It came in a push. My father said, "Akyat, dali." Walang sigawan, pero firm. We moved what we could to higher shelves. Yung ilan, useless din kasi mabilis na umakyat. Tumataas ang tubig sa loob, and the sound of the wind was getting louder. It became hard to hear each other. We were shouting in short phrases, not full sentences, kasi pagod na ang boses mo agad. The electricity went out. That moment felt like a door closing. Biglang lumiit ang mundo namin to whatever our flashlights could cover. My phone was at 40%. I started saving battery right away, turning it off and checking only when needed. We heard something crash outside. Hindi ko alam kung puno o yero o gate. Then another sound like metal scraping. My mother held onto the wall and my sibling started crying. After that, the roof started to peel. Hindi ko alam paano ko i-describe ng hindi dramatic, pero ganito, may mga tunog na parang may kumakalas, tapos may hangin na biglang sumisingit sa loob. Nararamdaman mo sa balat. Parang may kamay na humihila sa ibabaw. My father and I tried to hold a door closed that was shaking. Hindi ito heroic. It was panic with a job to do. You do what is in front of you. When we decided to leave, it wasn't a brave decision. It was the only decision left. We stepped into water that was already up to my thighs and in some parts higher. The rain was hitting our faces hard. The wind made it hard to walk straight. We held hands tight. Yung kapit na parang ayaw mo na bitawan kahit sumakit ng daliri mo. I kept looking at my siblings' face to check if they could breathe properly, if they were okay. My mother was behind me, my father in front. We aimed for the evacuation center, which in our case was a bigger concrete building. Hindi siya malayo on a normal day. That night, it felt far. We moved slowly, feeling for holes, debris, and current. I didn't know water could push like that. The flood had direction. It pulled at your legs. When we reached the building, there were already people inside, wet, shaking, holding plastic bags. Some were quiet, some were crying. May mga bata na nanginginig, may matatanda na tahimik na lang. People made space without needing instructions. Someone passed a small towel. Someone shared a flashlight. Small kindness, big impact. I remember sitting on a cold floor, my clothes sticking to my skin, my hands numb. My mother kept rubbing my siblings' arms to warm them up. My father stared at the wall for a long time. I wanted to ask him if our house was still there, but I didn't. I think we all knew we could not control the answer. The next morning, the sky looked normal in a way that felt unfair. Hindi pa bright, pero kalmer. When we went outside, the streets were changed. May mga kahoy na nakahiga sa daan, yero sa kung saan-saan, wires down. Yung tubig, may parts na umaatras, may parts na stagnant. It smelled like mud and salt and something spoiled. We walked back to our area. The closer we got, the quieter we became. Yung sari-sari store sa harap, wala na yung harang at yung maliit na sign. The front wall had a crack. Inside, the shelves were empty because they were floating earlier, then tipped over. Our refrigerator was on its side. Our rice container was open and dirty. Clothes were everywhere, mixed with mud. The bed mattresses were soaked and heavy. Hindi ko masabi we lost everything. It was a checklist in my head. IDs, school papers, appliances, furniture, photos. The photos hit hardest. Yung mga printed pictures na akala mo safe kasi nasa album, but the water gets in anyway. Faces blurred, paper sticking to paper. You try to separate them slowly, but they tear. In the first days, help came. May relief packs, may tubig, may canned goods, may noodles, may bigas. Some were from organizations, some from people we didn't know. May dumating din na galing sa relatives na malayo, kahit maliit lang. It made a difference. When you have nothing, even a simple meal feels like a reset. May mga volunteers na namimigay, may nagpapalinis ng daan, may nag-aabot ng used clothes. We lined up. We waited. We said thank you. We tried not to take more than we needed kasi alam naming may kasunod pa. I'm grateful. I want to be clear about that. Without those first donations and relief packs, I don't know how we would have eaten properly in the first week. Hindi ito complaint about kindness. This is about the gap that appears when the attention moves on. Because after a while, the donations slow down. Hindi biglaan. Unti-unti. Then there's a rumor na may darating, but it doesn't. Pagbalik namin sa bahay, everyone says, linisin natin. And you do. You scoop mud, you wipe walls, you wash what you can. Akala mo, once malinis, okay na. But the mud returns in small ways. Yung sulok ng cabinet, may putik pa. Yung amoy sa foam ng upuan, nandun pa. Yung pader, kahit pinunasan, may stain na hindi nawawala. May mga gamit na akala mo kaya pang gamitin, pero after a few days, mag-aamoy. So you throw it out. Then you feel guilty for throwing it out. Then you remember you have to sleep somewhere and you do it anyway. Relief packs help you eat. They don't rebuild your bed. They don't replace your stove. They don't fix your roof. These things feel basic until they're gone. Kapag wala kang maayos na tulugan, your body doesn't recover. Kapag wala kang light at night, you sleep early not because you're rested, but because there's nothing else to do. Even small replacements add up. A pail, a ladle, a mat, a pair of slippers, a school notebook, toothbrush, soap. You think, mura lang. Then, you count 10 mura lang in one day and your pocket is empty. I didn't expect this. I thought I would only feel tired. But there's also shame, not because people are judging you, but because you are seeing yourself in a situation you didn't plan for. Lining up for water, for food, for basic supplies, you tell yourself it's normal after a disaster. It is normal. But your mind still whispers, ganito na ba tayo? You fight that voice. You tell yourself you're doing it for your family. The first week, you sleep because you're exhausted. After that, sleep becomes broken. You wake up to wind sounds kahit normal lang. You check the floor for water kahit dry. Your body remembers before your mind can calm down. My sibling started sleeping lightly. My mother would wake up at small noises. You become your own night watch, even if there is no danger. When the rain comes, kahit mahina, your stomach tightens. You learn to listen to weather forecasts, not out of interest. After we returned, community stayed important. Neighbors helped each other carry debris. Someone lent a tool. Someone shared cooked food. Someone offered a temporary extension cord. Those moments held us up. At the same time, tension exists. Kapag limited ang resources, may misunderstandings. Not loud fights, but small conflicts. Someone thinks another family got more supplies. Someone feels overlooked. Someone is tired and speaks sharply. It doesn't make anyone bad. It makes everyone human under stress. We learn to ask for help without sounding demanding. We learn to say pasensya often. It's hard, but it's necessary when everyone is trying to rebuild at the same time. People say, buti balik na sa klase, balik na sa trabaho. It sounds like progress. It is progress, but it's not simple. When I returned to work, I was still cleaning at home. I was still figuring out where to charge my phone. I was still dealing with damp clothes. I was still carrying a bag of wet documents and ruined notebooks, trying to salvage what I could. At school, my sibling struggled to focus. Their uniform was borrowed. Their shoes were not the right size. They felt different. Hindi nila sinabi agad, but I saw it. They got quiet when classmates talked about new gadgets or weekend plans because our weekend plan was to dry mattresses under the sun. Workmates asked, okay na kayo? I said, oh, okay na. That was the easiest answer. The true answer was longer than anyone had time for. Losing appliances is painful because it's expensive. Losing photos is painful because you can't buy them back. But there are smaller losses too. My mother lost a notebook where she wrote recipes. It was just an old notebook. She tried to pretend it didn't matter. One day, she said quietly, sayang. That was all. But I saw how it stayed with her. It was part of her routine, part of her identity. I lost a shirt that my grandmother gave me. Not expensive, not branded, but it smelled like home when I wore it. After the flood, it was stained and stiff, and I couldn't clean it fully. I threw it away and felt like I threw away a memory. My father lost a small tool set he kept for years. He didn't mention it. He just started borrowing tools. Later, I saw him looking at a hardware shelf, quiet, like he was calculating not just money but time. It takes years to build a set of things. It takes one night to lose them. This is the center of why I'm writing. When the news cycle moves, people move too. Donations go to the next crisis. Friends get busy. That's not cruel. That's life. But if you're still in the middle of rebuilding, it feels like you're left behind. There was a time when people were messaging daily, Kumusta? Safe ba kayo? Then, it became, Hope you're okay. Then, silence. Again, I don't blame anyone. I understand. But there is a lonely stretch where you're still sleeping on a temporary mat, still fixing roof leaks, still trying to replace one plate at a time, and the world assumes you already recovered because they stopped hearing updates. After the donation stopped, what remained were choices. Do we buy a cheap mattress now? Or save for a sturdier roof repair later? Do we replace the stove first? Or focus on school needs? Do we spend on transportation to work? Or on cleaning supplies to prevent illness? You become good at prioritizing. You also become tired from prioritizing. Every decision has a small consequence. When you choose one, another waits. We learn to accept secondhand items without pride issues. We learn to repair instead of replace. We learn to live with good enough for a while. It's not a motivational lesson. It's a survival method. Trauma is a big word. I avoided it at first. I thought trauma was for extreme stories. Then I noticed how my body reacted. When the wind picks up at night, my heart rate changes. When the rain hits the roof, I listen for weak spots. When there is a power interruption, my mind goes straight to flashlight and water level. These are not dramatic reactions. They're automatic. My sibling became cautious about sleeping near windows. My mother checks weather updates more often than before. My father avoids talking about that night, but he double checks the doors now. We rebuilt enough to function. The roof is patched. We have basic furniture again. My sibling is back in school. My parents are back to routine, but the recovery is not a straight line. There are weeks when something breaks and you feel like you're back at zero. There are days when the rain comes and your body goes tense. There are moments when you notice you still don't own the things you used to take for granted, like a proper cabinet or a clean set of plates. At the same time, there is a quiet strength that came from being forced to rebuild. Not the kind you put on a poster, the kind that shows in daily habits. We learn how to ask for help and how to give it even when we have little. We learn that community is not perfect, but it can still be kind. We learn that gratitude and sadness can exist in the same day. If you've ever donated or volunteered after a disaster, thank you. I mean it. Those first days matter. Your message asking, "Are you safe?" matters. It helps a family breathe. If you know someone who went through a typhoon and you're wondering what to say months later, you can still check on them. Not with pressure, not with pity. Just a simple, kumusta na talaga? May kailangan ba kayo ngayong week? Sometimes the answer is, okay na. Sometimes it's, pagod pa rin. Both answers are real. And if you're someone who is currently in that phase after the donation stop, I want you to know this. You are not slow. You are not weak. The work is just big and the days are long. Recovery is not a single moment. It's waking up and choosing to fix one thing, then one more. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for more stories. Once again, I'm Lechon and I'll see you next time.